This computer. All right, what's good, people? What's good? What's good? What's good? This is For the Lag of God, and today we are talking to activist, promoter, entrepreneur, and musician SJ Hazim. What's
Boop,
good,
boop, boop,
SJ?
boop. Man, I'm doing good. I'm in the building. You know what I'm saying? It's always good when I'm able to talk to the people and get invited on the shows. You know, it's always a good thing.
Oh well, I've been looking forward to having you on. I've been looking forward to having you on. I'm looking forward to learning. I'm looking forward to learning today. So
Yes, sir.
yeah. So as we said before, and just as we were talking before about the Brown versus board, I watched a few sort of like documentaries, taken a few notes and stuff. But I'm looking forward to kind of probably teaching me some new stuff. It's
Hey, you know what? It's gonna be a good day. You know what I'm saying? I live my life in the present, so I look at every day as a new day, and it's up to us to unwrap the gift of the present. So that's just I look at availability being the best ability.
Mhm.
So I just want to make myself available for whatever conversation comes up and completely dive into it.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right, so I thought we'd just kind of kick it off. Just kind of tell us a little bit about who like we know that you're a you do a lot of activist work. You're a promoter, entrepreneur, musician. What else and who else is SJ Hazim?
SJ Hazim is a professional wrestling manager. You know, who goes by the Thinker.
Yeah,
So he shows up from time to time. He'll be having an event on May 4th, which will be televised, Fox 43. So I manage Mr. Fitness too. Right now we're beefing. So, we're going to see what happens. I'm coming with goons. I'm coming with goons. And, and it's going to be something. There'll also be so that's one thing that I do.
mm,
I'm the vice president of NAMI Kansas, vice president of the board of directors of NAMI Kansas, which is National Alliance on Mental Illness. So I've dealt with mental health issues since the 90s.
yeah.
So that's close to my heart. Um, what else? Of course, been married for 21 years. So, I'm a husband and a father. Both my kids are grown. Um, what else? Okay, I'm a shade tree comedian. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now I haven't done any shows yet, but I make people laugh. I love life. In general, I like to be that person who will do something different throughout the day. And when I say that, I want to be that person who might hold the door for somebody who doesn't
Yeah.
expect it. I might be that person who pays for somebody's groceries that they might not expect it. I might be that person who has a conversation with a stranger on the street, and just whatever it is, whatever I'm prompted, that's just what it is. But yeah, definitely the arts are the biggest part of what I do. But I'm really a person who just brings people together, and
Mm.
that's really what hip hop is all about, bringing people together. So I really operate in that spirit.
Beautiful. I got butterflies. I got butterflies. Like, so when I started this channel, it was a little like I'd read KRS-One's
Yeah.
Gospel of Hip Hop, and
Yes.
in that, because I like, and as well you said about mental health, like mental health was a massive reason why I started this. And in the KRS-One book, he says, there's hip hop, but then there's hip hop, and then he breaks it down. And one of the ways that he broke down the acronym of hip hop was having inner peace, helping others prosper. Hip hop, and I thought that was beautiful. And that in you saying bringing people together, helping others, whether it's by opening the door or telling a joke, or even just flashing someone a smile. Like
Mhm.
everything that you just said there is hip hop. Having inner peace, helping others prosper, and yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I've heard that acronym broke down in some different ways. I've even heard higher infinite power healing our people. You know what I'm saying? I've heard a lot of different things with hip hop, but at the end of the day, the way I look at different things in hip hop is we create the culture. Now that goes beyond color lines. We create the culture. I've been hip hop since I was 6 years old. So it's like basically at this point, I can say I am hip hop. So if I move over this way, hip hop moved over that way. You know what I'm saying? KRS-One is one of my favorites. You know what I mean? I mean, I've studied him. I've listened to him throughout all the years. He's always been that voice that I would listen to this if I want to be able to know some things, because that brother is so deep. I mean, it's ridiculous. But yeah, so once somebody comes into the knowing that they are hip hop and what they do moves the culture forward, they move different. They look at things different. They're not over here trying to prove nothing. Hip hop culture can't peer pressure them into making a diss song about somebody, right? If you're really set in who you are, it's like it's the whole peer pressure scenario of somebody hopping in the car with some cats who are about to do a drive-by, but this person wasn't really ready. So he ends up ratting on some people because his heart wasn't in it. Don't let hip hop culture push you into that. Don't let nobody push you into nothing. So hip hop is standing your ground, and being outstanding and standing out like a statue.
Yeah, like your true authentic self is hip hop.
Yes. I mean, the best way that it could really be put is, yes, pull back all the layers. Pull back all the layers. You know what I'm saying? Take off the pride. Take off the shame. Let that go. And realize the only way to truly be empowered is to actually not be ashamed of your shame. And being able to throw it out there. Put it out there on the clothespins where we dry our stuff if we got to put our stuff outside. I can't even think of what them things is called. And you air dry. Yeah. A laundry line. What do you call it?
Washing line.
Yeah, that'll work too. But what happens is it's like dirty laundry. When you got to expose different things out there for all to see. So I believe hip hop is one of those places to where everybody needs an example of how somebody would handle a situation. And we've seen that some situations get handled and people die. Then we've seen other situations happen and people grow. So I think it's all about the way somebody handles the situation.
Definitely. It's definitely like with the whatever you're going through, I'm not gonna pick a thing, but actually let's say mental health, because it's something that we're both strong about. But depending on what you've got, you can put it out there. Sometimes some might put it out there to kind of, bring others down about it. But as you said, others may put it out there to uplift some people. And, like regardless of people's feelings about Joe Budden, he was him and DMX were a massive impact on me. Because they would both talk about their mental health, the demons that they faced, and the way that they put it out there was just raw, and it was just like, look, if you don't like it, you don't like it. But and I appreciated their rawness about it, because I was like, do you know what? Actually, sometimes I feel like that, and it's nice to know that even these people that, shall we say, are like levels above me, like these celebrities, influencers and stuff, the fact that they've got it, as well, it makes me feel a little bit more welcome. Do you know what I mean? I don't feel so alone in the world that I'm like, what am I doing? So
it's exactly what you just said. You're not alone. The whole thing is we want people to know they're not alone. That's why people need examples of all these different things. And how, you can bounce back from different things, I'm 50 years old. I was doing stuff with Lil Wayne when I was 25. This was 1999, and a lot of other big artists, but we were supposed to be doing things with Cash Money, and then the guy that was behind me putting the money up ended up going to prison for 10 years. He's in prison right now. He's went back in a few different times, but he was the guy in the 90s who first invested in me and my music and everything. And we were doing major things. We were the first ones to bring all the Cash Money to Kansas City back in 99 at Kemper Arena. Now, 50 years, 25 years later, is just now I'm really to start making some inroads into some of the industry things and everything like that. But, I mean, that's a long time. That's real patience. And I wasn't chasing this dream. I was doing other things. I was just being an asset to my community, but I stayed sharp with my sword because me writing is a positive coping skill for my mental health and everything. So me staying sharp, continuing on and everything else like that. When the opportunity came, I was prepared for the opportunity and just started knocking things out the park. So, like Killer Mike winning Grammys last year, that did a lot for the people who are upper in age, who are still sharp and everything, because, the quickest thing everybody wants to talk about is you too old to do this or you too old to do that. But, this knowledge and wisdom that we acquire, we become better as we continue to write and we continue to stay, to stay in motion.
Yeah, I thought Killer Mike winning and, literally like just flooring everyone in that win was beautiful. Like, and especially, as you said, the whole ageism thing. But like, there's no real ageism because, as you've said, you're 50 years old. Like, everything that you've done and everything that you're doing is still something that you can talk about, that you can contribute. It's like you putting all that down on paper and on songs. It's like steps for the younger generation. So everything that you've done, you're able to put out, and and hopefully they come across your music, hear what you've done. It's do you know what, he's done it like that, and that's kind of what I find. I think ageism is I've said this before. Ageism is just a lie the music industry made up so that they don't have to worry about too many people. It's like it's a control thing. Do you know what I mean? Like that's the way I feel about it. I might get a little bit of a thing for that, but I feel that ageism was a lie that they made up so that they could just control the younger, more excited generation. Whereas where everyone grows up and they get a little bit more understanding on certain things, then I think that they find, people start becoming a little bit harder to control when, people have been in it a while and they start to wise up. So I definitely feel ageism is a thing that is made up.
Yeah, no, I like that. Rakim said something. I might mess up the very first lyric of it, but he said, age don't matter when you in the booth as long as your flow stays submerged in the fountain of youth.
Ooh.
And I always loved that. You know what I'm saying? I just thought that was a dope way to say it. And, Rakim, being one of the rap gods,
yeah.
It's amazing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I there's so many things that could be said with words. And so I really dive deep into words when I come into making a song like the Brown versus Board of Education song. Just wanted to make sure that that I addressed as many things that I needed to without going overboard, because a subject like that, you could end up making that song and it could be an angry song. It could be a really, really happy song, or you could have it be a balanced song. Mm-hmm. So I was looking at making it really balanced. So the first verse, I talk about the past. Second verse is about the present. And the third verse is about the future. And as I was writing it, I had different artists in my mind who I was going to reach out to do those parts. And my wish list, I got everybody except 3 people.
That's pretty
so those 3 people weren't able to do it, but the 29 others were. So I just think there's so much into the message and how it's delivered and the tactfulness of it, because nobody wants to listen to an angry black man. Right? I'll just put it out there like that.
I guess that depends what you're talking about, though, doesn't it? Like you could be angry, or you could be angry in an angry way, or you could be angry in a good way.
Yeah, and I appreciate you even saying it like that. I guess what it comes down to it is there's always there's not a real space for people like myself if I need to vent in front of a lot of people who don't look like me, because people will get scared, they'll get nervous, and they might think that I'm going to explode, clear the table, smack some people or something. But that's not the case. It's just we get upset too. We get bothered and everything else like that, but we don't have that space to be able to do that sometimes. So it's like, even as I'm writing this song, I was in that same scenario. Like, okay, how far can I go in on some of this stuff? What should be said about some of these things? And I figured some of the things I don't say, I need to have shown in the video, and everything, because there was a lot of things that went on. I mean, even uh, you know, when integration was happening, which it took 3 years before the Little Rock Nine happened, so this 1957, but everything happened in 54. The president had to order 1,000 paratroopers to come to this school to
the
be able to
101.
escort 9 people in, and it was crazy. And there was a lot that happened. But we
Yeah, and
made that change.
even sorry to cut you off, but
No, you good.
was it the the mayor or something? I can't remember what it was, but there was the guy that even stood in front of
Yes.
stood in the doorway, and you just like,
Yeah, the
yo,
governor.
what the hell?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, he actually made the video because he said, segregation now, segregation tomorrow,
yeah,
and segregation forever. So those were powerful words and everything. So it's like, in this video is almost you're gonna have an introduction to it. So because what's gonna happen is, when you leave, you're gonna know more about the Brown versus Boyd. If you knew nothing about it at all, you're gonna leave knowing. And that was the goal. So I'm still doing the video now. It's still in progress. It will be released May 17th. But I really just want that message to be out there, and just knowing that it takes all of us. So even the way the video goes, the first people you see are all Black, right? By the second verse, that's when you have somebody who's biracial start out the lyrics, because there's a whole lot that goes on with people who are biracial. They just don't feel accepted anywhere and everything, and that's something. So it was very strategic. And I even have a couple of white people who are in this song who come toward the end, because we're talking about the future. We're moving forward, and it takes all of us. So that is one of the things I wanted to make sure I said while we were on this show, because it takes us all. Some people might be living with a false narrative and think it only takes Black folks. Some people might be thinking it only takes white folks. But it's a mixture. It's a mixture. We need everybody. We need the Hispanics. We need biracial. We need, we need everybody. So yeah, that was the whole thing. As far as I think it's up to, especially people who live in Topeka or some of these different 5 states who were affected. We have to talk more about this. People need to know more about this and everything. And my goal is, I'm trying to even make inroads to move all the way up, even to as high as the Supreme Court. To where we might be able to get I don't know what it's going to take or what it can be, but there's a lot that we're working on right now that we want to see happen during this 70th year, because the 70th year doesn't start till May 17th. So after that, but we're trying to get some things going, and we've got some inroads in some places and spaces, and we want to make this as big as we can.
Well, I mean, I've got a couple of. I think you may have kind of answered some of them, but there's a couple of questions on it. So hopefully you can kind of elaborate more then and stuff.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
No, well, like when I was looking at it, May 15th, 17th, 1954. Well, I mean, it started in 50. The groundwork of it all started in 52. It got passed.
Oh, yeah.
It passed in 54.
Yeah.
And then they were back in 55, and then 57.
That's when they started integrating some of the schools.
Yeah, and that's when it also came. And then I think there was one in the 60s, I think, or 60s or 70s, and then the bit that shocked me was like it was reopened again in 1994. Like, I was, you know what I mean? Like, because they'd still, in things in schools, like they'd done a report or something and found that there were still problems with it, and I was like, that's crazy. Like,
there were some things that went all the way up to just a couple of years ago down there in I want to say it may have been Cleveland, Mississippi, but there were still some schools that were segregated. There was a whole story out, but yes, there's so much that is going on and that went on. And although it's 70 years later, there's so much more we still have to do and everything. And there's never been a song that addressed this or anything. So I really feel privileged. And I'll just say I was sought out by an organization called the B.A.B.C, which
Yeah,
is the
I was just about
Black
to ask you
American
about that.
Blueprint
Yeah.
Collective. They were the ones who commissioned me to write this song and everything else like that, and put everything together, select the track, get it recorded, mixed, mastered, you name it. And now I'm working on the video. But as far as the video, that's fully me. The B.A.B.C didn't want to take part in the video part, so I just went ahead and took that on, and I'm gonna make this video phenomenal, because this video has to happen in a way that when people see it, they're captivated. So
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying myself right now.
So yeah, I was gonna say, you were commissioned by the B.A.B.C, to write Far Too Long and everything. So how did it come around for them to reach out with you, and how did it make you feel as well?
Well, I'll tell you this. At first, it really made me feel really good, right? Until I found out how I was selected, right?
Okay.
No, it's funny. So I'm one of those guys. I do a whole lot in the town, have a whole lot of different talents and some different connections. So there's a lady by the name of Dr. New. She used to be the principal at Highland Park, and then she went higher up and to the administration levels of the schooling and stuff. But she's an educator. She's terrific. So they had her reach out to some different people who they thought might be able to accomplish this. So
Yeah.
out of the people that they reached out to, I was the only one who responded. So I got it,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So, because I was asking at one point, I was like thinking, I'm like, I wonder why they chose me and this and everything. And I talked with some different people. Then when I went and asked, I was hoping to hear that there was some vision that somebody had. And they were like, SJ Hazim just was wrote on the ceiling and then decided to reach out to them. It wasn't that deep. They reached out to a few different artists in Topeka that they thought might be able to accomplish it, and I'm the only one who responded. So I got it. So,
Nice.
but that's how it happened. And
Yeah.
there's nothing. I'm just glad that I was in those in the runnings, that people would even
Yeah,
consider
to
me.
even be mentioned.
But
Yeah.
yes, but how it made me feel. I felt like this was the biggest opportunity that I think that I've ever had. Um, Although it wasn't like it's that I'm getting that I made a whole lot of money from the contract or doing whatever. It wasn't about that, but the opportunity of where this can go, and the people I can get in front of, and they can see the talent. And it also pushed me further in my writing stages. I've wrote for people before, but I haven't ever wrote a song like this.
Yeah.
So with that, it gave me so much confidence now. It was just a process. It was almost like that caterpillar going into a cocoon and coming out as a butterfly. This process, because it's the first time that I talked to artists. Some of these artists, you know, um, they have a big followings. We had a guy who was a graduate of Juilliard on here, doing the violin. So it was a big deal. All the different people who accepted and put their hearts and souls into it and allowed me to write everything, and they didn't have an issue with it. Because sometimes artists, they don't want to do something that they didn't write. So I just felt privileged and highly favored. Just a big blessing. It definitely took me to a whole nother level.
Yeah. I get like I'd also say as well. Again, I don't know what the email said and stuff, but depending on how they asked, I think a lot, like, it definitely sounds like it would be a big thing to take on. Like, maybe I'm not saying it or whatever, but I think maybe it may have intimidated a few people, because it's a big subject to talk about, and then I'd say quite delicate in ways as well. So I'd say it's
Yeah.
also it's a good thing, but it's also a very intimidating thing to have to sort of take on and how are you going to explain this and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, I was nervous pretty much the whole time as I was writing this song. I took a few months to do everything, so I got the information back in September
Yeah.
and didn't get everything done until closer to the end of February. Closer to the end of February. But it was just a process, just gathering the people and figuring out, where we're going to record, how we're going to record, who's going to do this, and everything else like that. But you're right. Just taking on a project like that, there were so many unknowns that a lot of people don't want to agree to something like that. But me, I mean, I just saw what it could be, and I'm like, I can't let this pass me by. But I also knew if I drop the ball on this one, I'm not going to get another chance.
I agree and I disagree. I mostly disagree. Like I'd say if again it depends how you drop the ball, but
You're right.
it depends
It's a
how you
kid.
drop the ball. But they say time's the healer of all wounds. So you may have done something on this one, but your vision and your direction and stuff as well may also be, someone may remember that, and that's what gives you your next like big project and stuff.
Yeah.
So
You're exactly right. I mean, I just always look at it like that. Like, hey, if I got to keep knocking everything out the park, I can't mess up a poem. I can't mess up this. I can't mess up that, or I won't get another opportunity like this one. So I just, I always put my all into it. So that's what this was, and it was going to happen regardless. I was going to make it happen regardless, whatever I had to do. And I think just that type of attitude, I believe tenacity is a superpower. And it doesn't get its just due. But those people who don't give up and just get up, there's something to that.
yeah, yeah. I was excited, like, cause I think if someone came to me and sort of said, "Would you want?" I'd be scared. I'd probably say no as well, because I'm like with. But like, cause I've like my anxiety, I'd have definitely overthought it way too much, and I'd have probably stopped myself before I even got started with it. Yeah, and then when I was going, watching the documentaries and stuff, it is definitely a big thing, and I know that if for some reason it was me that had died, I'd be like, I don't know if I could do that.
I appreciate it. I love honesty and just everything like that, because I mean, after I accepted later, I was thinking like, why the hell did I accept it?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm stuck. Second verse, I had the first and the third verse, but the second verse, I was like, I don't know where I'm going with this one. And it's the most important because we're talking about the present. So I got to make sure that I'm knocking things out the park, and I don't got too long. I just got to make sure the things I decide to talk about are of utmost importance right now, today.
Yeah, like, yeah, I can understand that, because the past is already written. The future is basically where you dream things will be, and how you hope your idea sets out, or the idea could set out, and what it can achieve. But yeah, the present is always a touchy one, because we're currently going through it, and what we what we could say today could be the total opposite. You know what I mean, of tomorrow.
Right.
So yeah, definitely. All right, so the other question is, what does Brown versus Board mean to you?
What's funny, and this right here, this is the true story. When I was growing up in Central Topeka in elementary school, went to 3 different elementary schools, 2 different middle schools, and 1 high school. So Central Topeka is, especially back then, it's always, it's pretty high crime. A lot of different things happen there. I'm 2.5 blocks from a school called Loman Hill. That's where I hung out all the time. Everybody would play basketball there. That's where everybody was at, especially, black folk. There was a school that was about 15 blocks away from me called Randolph. So I couldn't go to Loman Hill School for school, because they said there was already too many black people there. I had to walk 15 blocks to this pretty much damn near all white school, which was called Randolph. it was almost Brown versus Board in reverse. And that was in the early 80s. So it was just strange that there was another side that I got to that whole thing, and that was them implementing some different stuff,
Yeah,
in reverse.
yeah, yeah.
But what it means to me is truly, um, you have to resist in order to get what you want sometimes. And sometimes we think that our ancestors did all the work and that there's no more work for us to do. So we sit back comfortable. And that's why I say it's important to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Because if not, you'll always be comfortable. And you can either make progress or you can have comfort. But when you're making progress, you're leaving the safe zone. You have to, you can't, you have to leave the safe zone. And I think that I want to see more of that. But the thing is, for that to happen, people have to get the courage to speak. And the thing is, people don't like being individuals, especially when they're going to stand out and be noticed, and then they're going to have to actually speak on how they feel or their thoughts and everything. And being in the middle of cancel culture, man,
Yeah.
it just frightens everybody on different stuff, because it's like, I don't know if I want to stand up and be recognized or say what I think or say what I feel, because then I could be canceled or somebody could take it the wrong way, or I'm going to offend this person. Well, guess what? That's life. There's nothing you're going to say that everybody's going to agree with.
Yeah.
So Brown versus Board showed me that you can make a difference. We got to continue to resist different things um, that are not going to do us much good. We have to continue to make progress in our mindsets and have a growth mindset and not a set mindset, or a fixed mindset to where basically I can't do it. I don't know how to do it. You got to be like, I can. I will learn. I will try. I am willing. I am able. Because I believe the secret in life is belief. And it's been said before, if you had the faith of a mustard seed, you could move mountains. So what I truly believe is, if you truly believe it and your mind can conceive it, then you can achieve it. And I know it's cliche, but the thing is, if you don't believe in the own words you say, nobody else will either. And it won't manifest into your life until you truly believe it. And that's full stop right there. I think that's the secret of life. But what has to happen is you have to actually be courageous enough, and maybe even crazy enough, to believe you can achieve what you are thinking about.
Definitely. Well, they say, you have to everything starts with your self belief, isn't it? And if you don't, like you say, if you don't believe it, we can't achieve it. And they all say that. But again, what you said about the cancel culture, I think a lot of, like, again, it depends on different variables, and whether you're married, whether you're with a partner, or stuff like that. But I think a lot of it as well is, if I say something, like if I say something and I want to change something, not only how does that affect me, but how does that affect the people around me? So if I was to go up and say something, to try and make change, would that then affect my wife, and how her work would see her? Could she possibly, I mean, again, it depends how extreme people see it, but would that affect her job? Would she lose her job? Would she have to find something? Would like the different things? And I think as well that, like, would I like we have like a cost of living crisis over here, and stuff like that. And it's like, if I say something, it's taken the wrong way, and she loses her job, or I lose, or family members lose their job because of something I said, like, then it's then that's a whole different ball game. So I
Oh
think
yeah.
think in some ways that takes part. But then also going back to what you said, how, like, what they did before us, just because they managed to get it doesn't, like, how does it go? you can. It's something about always in like taking something and always improving on it. Basically, is but I
Yeah,
can't quite remember. But it's along those lines. And yeah,
yeah, I know.
yeah,
No,
go on.
go ahead.
No, that was it. I was just that
No,
was
but
it.
so you're speaking of like really, I mean, taking something and improving it. I mean, that's like the definition for innovation.
Mm.
So basically, it's like the way I see it in general is like continuous improvement. It's what they have in every factory and stuff like that. Is how do we continue to improve? And a lot of times we haven't adopted that model with stuff like this because if we had, we'd be a lot further along. More people would know about this and everything else. Like before Brown happened, there wasn't even a thought about disabled people in schools. Not even a thought. You
No.
know, that wasn't even a thought. So it's like, how far have we come? We've come very far. But the thing is, you know, Topeka is still one of the most segregated places. You know what I'm saying? It was back then as well. And you know, but we self-segregate a lot in places. It's just go look in the lunchroom anywhere. You know what I'm saying? I mean, look at the churches. You know, we really self-segregate around that and everything else like that. These are just different things just to know that we can notice and everything and just be like, hey, you know what? A lot of time we're creatures of habit. So like I know I'm going to Wing Wednesday today and I'm going to order 12 wings. 6 are going to be lemon pepper. 6 are going to be plain. I'm going to have some ranch on the side and tiger sauce. And it's going down. And my man, Sean Knight, is going to pay for it.
Nice, nice.
No, it's so funny because it's all true. But absolutely, I think it's just the awareness of where we are and everything, you know, because hey, it's just about knowing and then growing, you know. So I think there's always a need for improvement, but we got to know what we're doing and we got to know why we're doing some of these different things. And I just want the world to be a better place. I want us to cross over more color lines. I don't want people to still feel it's cool to, you know, sit here and talk derogatory about somebody because they're white or because they're black and have, you know, we got to get past all that. You know, we're there's one race. We're out here, and I don't know why we're racing. You know, I mean, what's the prize at the finish line if we're all angry at each other and everything like that, and are in competition with each other, or tell people that white people don't belong in hip hop and all this other type of stuff? What are we talking about?
Definitely, kind of keeping our knowledge and our skills to our own little bit. Yeah, it's pretty like I don't know. We could be living in space by now, or like you know Mars, or I don't know Venus, or I don't even know if you can live on Venus, but you know what I mean. Like my space knowledge isn't very good, but you know we could be again I don't know, but we could be going to like different solar systems. Yeah, we all kind of come together. You know, like in the sci-fi films, we see like the lifts and stuff you can take to the moon,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you know, like you can just go and get in this little chute and boom, you're on the moon. Like, you know what I mean? So yeah, I think a lot of people have kind of have profited off the idea of of hate, shall we say?
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I do kind of feel we could be a lot further together because you know everyone like we've all got different things that you know we can share and we can help build with and stuff like that. But again, because of the idea that we've been you know the idea of hate that people have been brought up with, then you know it's kind of like well if I put this out, you know they might grab onto it and you know, I don't want them to have it sort of thing. So
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
that's that whole competition over collaboration. And you know, and even with that, I mean, there's a lot of times when somebody comes to me and talks about collaboration and we ain't really worked together or I know that there ain't real love there. To me, what that means is they wanna step on my platform and for themselves to shine so I can help lift them up or whatever. And so a lot of times, depending on who the people are, I'm not interested in collaboration. because I understand it's not a real collaboration. You know, there's some people who just want to work with you at different time because you got more traction or more motion or whatever else. And, you know, I used to just work with anybody until I just got burnt too many different times. And it's like, you know what? You guys don't really want to work with me. You just wanted some of my connections. So a lot of times, you know, you've got collaboration, you know, you've got things hidden under the word collaboration. And it's really not that. You're really a stepping stone.
So what do you look for now when you go into collaborations?
I look at the people who I've already been collaborating with who really weren't asking for collaboration. I look at people who are actually out here giving selflessly. I look at the people who are who they are when they're not around other people. And you know, and you know, just it's overwhelming. There's gonna be an overwhelming energy I'm gonna feel. There's already gonna be a lot of crossover, if you will, and some of the stuff that we're already doing.
Yeah.
We got to have sort of the same aim, or at least hit it in the same direction for that. And I got to know that that you get into it, that you're a mover and a shaker and an activator, and you're not just going to be sitting there procrastinating and waiting for me to do everything. You know what I'm saying? So when I see that, when I see the initiative, when I see the track record, and I see that we can vibe and we can get along, and you know, and it's going to be like that, then I'm all for it. You know, somebody got to. It's not about having a seat at the table. I need you to bring your own table because I'm bringing mine.
Yeah, I again as well. Sometimes when I do collaborations as well, I always kind of sometimes go into what can I learn? You know, what like
I like that.
you know, because especially you know like with music productions and different things. You know, like I know they say kind of you know find people that try and collaborate with people that are a little ahead of you and stuff, which is good. But and you know, but then if you're gonna go into that, is you know what can you learn from those people that are doing it? Because you know they've obviously done what you want to do. That's why you know that's why you're reaching out. But you know what can you learn for them? But also not to make that too one sided. But what also can you offer them as well? Because even though they've done what you've wanted to do, but you know what can you offer them? You know it might be a different way of doing something like a more of a fresh outlook on something that they've been doing. I don't know, been doing the long way for something. You know, how can you make a process easier for them as well? You know, because then that way you're not just asking them, but you're also offering something as well. You know, like I know that you're doing this, but I can also you know possibly help with this, or you know I can do this and stuff like that. So something I try and look for as well when doing collaborations.
No, I like that a lot. One of the things that normally, if people want to collaborate with me, what they're normally wanting is some of my perspective, and you know, as far as like even my creative process. My creative process, as far as if I'm putting together a song or a poem or whatever else, there's like somebody can say something. Like for instance, I'll use an example of how I'm becoming the producer for Matt Spezia's new album. It's his fourth album, but he's an 8-time national poet champion. He came in and he said something. I was about to record his part for the Brown versus Board, so he came in. He said, "You know what? People are a bunch of haters and they don't want to see nobody happy." I said, "Bro, you need to write a poem and start it out with those same words just like that." And he did. And we just did an event with the governor here in Kansas, and he spit that poem and everything. And he had another line that was inspired by me, and he pointed to me as he said it and everything. But that's one of the things that people use me for a lot. Just some of my ideas and everything like that, and definitely for my reach on social media. You know, if they want, you know, to get more known in that way. So those are a couple of the different ways that most people reach out, because I'm really connected with community. I got a nice social media outreach, and my ideas and my creativity. Those are the things that people normally try to lean on. And I'm okay with all that because those are a lot of my strengths.
All right, so let's kind of go take it take it back just a little bit. Yeah. So, why like a bit of a I don't know, might be an interesting topic, but why is it? Why do you feel it's important for the youth to understand the struggle and the well? We kind of already answered this, but you may be able to elaborate on it a little bit.
Yeah, well,
Like for the youth to understand the struggle and the journey of the desegregation in schools, as you depicted in far too long.
you know, because the reason it's so important for them to see is because right now they take this for granted because they've always seen it. It's just like somebody who has always grown up with social media or always have grew up with cell phones.
Yeah,
um, it's just something they take for granted. It's just like we take our closest people we take for granted, whether it's our wives, our children, our mothers, our fathers, until they're gone. But right now, they need to know there was a time where white and black people couldn't be in the same building. At least not in the same part of the building. Couldn't use the same bathrooms. Couldn't drink in the same water fountains. And now you've got different people, different colors fighting at the schools, doing whatever. You're doing all kind of different things. But if they knew how far we've came, but also how far we still need to go, then therefore they could focus in their minds right now and start adopting a plan to make things better as we move forward because the children are the future. But if they don't know about the past, we're doomed to repeat it.
yeah,
So that's why it's so important. And when I hear about different things like, they don't let us share our lived experiences in different places because they've coupled it into some type of political thing to where it's looked at as critical race theory. When it's not the case. This is just an experience. These are things that have happened in the past. And if we can't talk about it, then it's going to repeat. So if it has to be done through entertainment and through a song and everything else like that of 3.5 minutes for somebody to understand what has happened, then it's going to be very important for them to see that because that might be the most important 3.5 minutes of their life. But they need to know at one point we were not allowed to be able to eat with people who didn't look like us and everything like that. And we've had to get over it and we've had to go ahead and continue to live our lives and not make other people pay for it who didn't have anything to do with it and everything like that. So there's tactics to this. There's also ways that we can teach the youth, hey, you don't need to wake up and be angry at people who don't look like you. Yes, these things happen. Did they do it? No, they didn't. We all got to survive and live on this world, and we got to let the love show more. But unfortunately, we got to look at the bad, the ugly, and everything in the indifferent. We have to look at it. We have to be able to talk about it. If we can't, we're just sweeping it under the rug with all the other dirt.
yeah. It's coming to terms with those with those wounds and in embracing those scars. Like it's kind of like using our weaknesses against ourselves, against us, basically.
Yeah, yeah, and there's shame attached. I remember when I was a kid in elementary school, going to that school I told you about. We had to
Yeah,
watch Roots. I'm in the 5th grade watching Roots, seeing some different things that I hadn't seen before, and it was hard, because then there's people who want to make jokes and call somebody Chicken George or something, and then find themselves in a fight, and it's like, and this stuff is pulling at my heartstrings so heavy because it's like I didn't watch Roots at the house. I mean, why am I going to watch Roots at the house? You know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
everything. And it's like, who wants to see that? I mean, it's just there's so much that goes on. Some people love to see it. There's some people who watch it just to watch it. And then unfortunately, I know some people who happen to be white who watch Roots quite often, and I'm like, why would you continue to watch that? It's like maybe you wish it was still here. I don't know. I just don't understand why somebody would get a kick out of watching Roots just on some prime time stuff. Like, hey, baby, let's watch back when the world was great or whatever. I don't know. But like
right.
I said, and I don't want to offend anybody, but what I am saying is, I mean, I don't like watching slave movies. You know, there's nothing to a Slade movie that I would watch more than once. If I saw Rosewood once, I don't need to see it again. If I saw Roots, I don't need to see it again. I just don't need to continue to see some of these movies to where I'm just seeing my brothers and sisters and stuff being hung and all the other type of stuff. I don't like feeling like that.
Wouldn't want to keep watching those too. It's like, it's like it's educational, but then the more it's shown, it then becomes kind of like degrading, basically.
Yeah,
So you can watch it a couple of times, like once, once will be like shock value, got like,
right.
God damn, did that really happen? And then you'd be like, well, hang on, I might have missed something. Second time, you go back, you kind of watch it. Third time, maybe. And I'd say, then I'd say fourth is like four times is kind of like the limit, because in four times it's like, okay, I understand this now. I can kind of say, hey, watch this. But if you're gonna keep watching it like it's your own personal movie, there might be something we need to talk about. But other than that, but if you're gonna keep seeing it and see it, then it's kind of, then it just becomes degradation of character. It's like,
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah. I'm with you completely, and like I said, so it's important for the kids to know what has happened in the past and everything like that, or we're doomed to repeat it. So that's why I believe that the children definitely need to know about this landmark decision. You know,
Yeah, definitely. Because I won't lie, I didn't know anything about it. I knew about the segregation and stuff, mostly because I wrote like Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King, and such like that. But yeah, I didn't know about this, and it
right?
wasn't until we kind of what was it, like Katrina put it in the email and was like, this is SJ, this is what he does, blah blah blah, and I was like, what's that? And then I was like,
Yes. No,
okay.
that
I was
that
like,
that
God
is
damn.
so good. That is
Yeah.
so good. I'm so glad that you shared that because I'm gonna tell you, it just means the mission is working. It just means everything is right because in this song, the part that came first was we learn to sing with broken hearts, welcome diversity with open arms. We're living the dream, but where to start? Brown was before King and Rosa Parks, and it was so important because this was '54, Rosa Parks was '55, and Martin Luther King, he was making his rise during that time. But this is what gave the wind underneath the wings of the activists that moved
Yeah.
the world. And the thing is, it doesn't get mentioned enough, or a lot of people don't know about it. So I wanted to make it my duty to just start talking about it and letting people know what it is. And that's why I'm on a mission to try to go all the way up to the Supreme Court. So hopefully we might be able to have an event or something there for this, because they have an exhibit there. I have found that out. So we're gonna see what happens. That's a big old goal. I mean, that's the top. That's the highest you can go.
Yeah.
The judicial branch. So we're gonna see what happens. But I believe that that something just might be able to happen there, and if that happens, we're gonna make history again.
Hey, well, you never know, mate. What's around the corner? You never know what's around the corner. Do you know what I mean? Like
Right.
you could do it and get to. I can't. You just said it, and I've forgotten the name of it. The Supreme Court.
Yeah, the Supreme
Yeah, you
Court.
could get all the way there, and achieve what you want to there, and then what. Again, after that, I don't know, but
Yeah,
like
but
what?
that would be the final destination. So from this, if there's some way that something like that could happen, and there's an event that we're able to have there where we show the video and everything else like that, and maybe there's some justices there. I mean, this is just a pipe dream, right? But I believe in speaking things into existence and trying to, figure out how those things could happen. But I mean, that would be the ultimate. I mean, because that's where this happened. That
Yeah.
this landmark decision happened right there. So I believe if we end up finding the right people to get in touch with and then something like that could definitely happen. But at the end of the day, I believe it'll be blessed because we're getting information out there to the people and they're finding out more things. And if you know about more things, then you can go about things in a different way to get those things accomplished.
Definitely, definitely. So I've got change it up a little bit, kind of not as heavy. Um, so and another thing I think I saw the talk about this on the Fox, your local Fox News, but uh I think Trina also put it in the email as well, and I was kind of intrigued about it. You know, the sound of courage operata. Uh,
Oh,
yeah, like because you've been asked to do the to co-direct it.
yes,
Yeah, and it's scheduled for May 24th, and I was like,
yes.
well, that sounds quite interesting. So yeah,
Okay, I'll go into that. So, um, we have a lady that's here in Topeka right now. She's gonna live here for about a month, beginning of May. Right now, she's traveling back and forth. Her name is Vanessa German.
yeah,
Vanessa German. So, she's a world-renowned artist, sculpturist, poet, all the above. So the city of Topeka, between Arts Connect and Visit Topeka, paid her a nice amount of money to come here and make an art exhibit for sculptures, and also a poetry operetta, which is a 50-part poetry choir. So that event is going to happen May 24th. We just had a rehearsal yesterday. 2 weeks before, we'll have rehearsals every day, like every day. But the thing this is going to be on an album. They're making a whole album. There's going to be a video. There's a short movie. There's going to be the live performance. And then I became the co-director at the first practice. And one of the ladies that I brought with me is another co-director of it. And this is going to be submitted for Grammy consideration. So just from this poet operetta, there could be 3 or 4 Grammys that could be won
mm.
by this. So just being in a position like that is just amazing. And I also have a solo piece in this poet operetta. I'm the voice of rage. I'm one of the voices of rage. So you'll hear some screaming, you'll hear some different stuff. I mean, and man, I've got the script. Just got the script on Monday. But it's amazing. I mean, I couldn't have dreamed to be in a position like this, because some people believe that a Grammy's the final destination. And I don't look at it like that now, because I'm just now even getting into some of this music stuff. A lot of people don't know me from Adam. But this is the biggest way somebody could get to know somebody, because I got so many projects coming out this year, and they might go into Grammy consideration as well if I'm mentioned over here and some of these other things that are going on. So this is the biggest and best opportunity I think I've ever had in my life. And I'm not gonna blow it. So at this point, man, I don't even know how to express it except this smile from ear to ear. I just feel so blessed and highly favored to be in this position.
No, it definitely does sound like a massive position, and like again, I don't know if I'd say it like as you said. I don't know if the Grammys would be the end, like the end sort of thing, because but I'd say it's also like the Grammys are also a key to a bigger door, a key to a bigger
Yes,
door, because even if you're like people see your name on the you don't necessarily have to win anything. It's just if they see you on the nominations and it's like, oh, do you know what, he was nominated for a Grammy, like let's go find out why, and hopefully
yeah,
then couple more people, couple more people start calling you, and more projects like this, Brown versus Board, and hopefully a lot more bigger things can come out of that. And because of that, we never know the rooms that our name is spoken in.
right,
So there could be, right now we could be in, say, I don't know, we could be speaking in 5 unknown rooms right now, but after that 15, 20, you know what I mean? So
right.
yeah, so you never know where it's gonna go, and I think it's that Grammy is, it's just kind of like that that record, like a bit of recognition, but also the key to a bigger door and bigger opportunity is kind of how I see the Grammy or
I,
Grammys
I
even.
I like how you put that. I mean, that's actually the best way to really put it. I mean, that's exactly what it is. I mean, it's like I was talking to an individual earlier this week, and in his mind, the Grammy was the ultimate. That's what it was. Of course, I didn't even share with him the position I was in, but he was an artist who was signed to a major label in the '90s and everything, and still doing stuff. And he thinks that that's the thing. And it's like us being in two different spots. It's like I don't think that's the thing. I think it's a great thing, but for some people that is the final destination. For others, that's the beginning for other things because the awards are just that. They're the awards, but there's so much more. So at the end of the day, I don't know where this ride is going, but I know the journey. It's all about the journey and not the final destination. Because once you're at the final destination, then apparently there's no more journey.
It kind of reminds me. I'm not a massive boxing fan, but it kind of when like Tyson Fury won the belt, and then he won the belt, and then he sunk into a big depression because he was like, well, this was my end goal, and now I've got it. What do I do? And it messed him up for a little while, and then then he got back into boxing, and again, I don't know what his end goal is now, but he'd reached that end goal and was just like, I've got what I wanted. What do I
Right.
do? And then if you look at that with I don't know Grammys, you've won one, but is I don't know, might sound a bit greedy, but is one enough? You got one Grammy. Do you think you could get two Grammys? Could you get three Grammys? Could you sweep the floor at the Grammys?
You
You know
shoot
that
the
that that
floor.
might be that might be the end of the thing, but I guess we won't really know until we've kind of reached that because some people might want those Grammys, but then some people might get those Grammys, and as we said, it might lead to something else, and then I guess that all kind of comes down to it might be a bit of a reach, but I guess in some ways that comes down to legacy, really.
hmm Yeah.
But,
No, I mean, I love your perspective on it. It even just sounds funny, is it maybe sweep the floor with the Grammys?
mm,
No, but I mean, I think it really is what somebody is after. Me, I like doing radio shows. I help host a couple with my man Callie Pitts on the Podbean app. But there's some about reaching the people, talking to the people, and when you actually get to the point where you've been doing it for some time and everything, and just good conversation flows, and people get things out of it. If my love language is communication, and if I can help somebody get from A to Z a little bit quicker, that's what I want to be able to do. And I think that's what the lived experience do. And also in this music, I know at one point, hell, in the early '90s. Um, I was prepared to do anything to get into the industry for the most part. I mean, now if that's just whatever, and when I say that, I'm talking about more like breaking the law type stuff, not so much, not so much giving up the goods. You know what I'm
mm.
saying? I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it like that. I won't say anything else. But and that's you shouldn't be at a point to want to do anything to get into the industry. That's a dangerous place. That's a dangerous place to be because that means you might do anything to anybody in order to make those things happen. And I'm at a point now to where I'm not here to sacrifice for the industry. I want the industry to sacrifice for me. So if I'm making the music and I'm putting this stuff together, guess what? I don't got to go out to LA every time to do something to meet with y'all. Y'all need to be making something happen with me. And
Yeah.
so I'm looking at taking the power back because a lot of people they don't operate like that. But I'm like, I don't want to. I don't. The industry is not. I'm not trying to make it into the industry anymore. What I see is happening is from some of the things I've been doing, things are being brought to me, and I think that's how it is supposed to be.
And then with that, you say the what you would sacrifice to be in the industry, but then if people know that, well, again, what my next point would be, but is what would the industry? How would the industry sacrifice you for what you want? You know what I mean?
You know, I think that I would have. I don't think the industry really ever sacrifices for anybody.
Well, not
I'm
what would the industry sacrifice, because the industry isn't going to sacrifice anything,
right,
but it's
right,
more
right.
it's more what can the industry get you to do for them? Because like if you want to get into it, you'll, I don't know, probably sell your grandma or something. I don't know, but like it's kind of like, well, they know that you want to be in, so it's like how can we work this? Like those whole, I don't know, like that whole thing about industry plants and stuff. Then it kind of makes you think, well, what, was they are they children of already celebrities, or or have they had to have done stuff? But then it gets into a little bit conspiracy theory, and we won't go that far. But so yeah, but then the second point of that is also what is the industry to you? Because the industry is like, I guess when some people talk about it, and I guess when you're saying it is the industry, we mean like the big boys, like up
Yeah,
there,
yeah,
like
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
celebrityness. Yeah.
So I would say this: what could the industry do for me to make me want to be inside the industry? Is probably what you're asking me.
I believe so. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, so basically, say for instance, I win a Grammy or I win a few of them. That's where a lot of stuff will probably come out the woodwork, and I don't have a problem of being in the industry as long as I'm controlling things. And when I say I'm controlling things, meaning the contract is right, meaning all the terms are right, meaning it's going to be a joint venture because it's going to have to be.
Yeah.
Because I need to have that. I've seen enough of different things, and it needs to be distribution. Because I can control the music. I don't need. I got my producers. And everything. Now, can I use some of theirs? Yeah, but not if I'm getting hit over the head for $250,000 for a track. I have one of my guys put it together who do they thing heavy. So I have no problem getting inside the industry as long as the contract is right and I'm able to control the different things that I'm controlling, because I know I want to, I want to do sync deals. I mean, there's a lot of different things that I want to do. I'm good at jingles, for commercials and everything else. So if I did something, I would like to be doing things on a much bigger level, um, and stuff like that. So I wouldn't have a problem doing some things in the industry as long as the contract is right. And I think that's pretty much anybody. I think that's what has been hurting hip hop for all these years is the contracts ain't been right.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely an abuse of power there. Yeah. Definitely. Um. Also, another question: what is a poet operetta?
So a poet operetta is an opera of at least 50 poets.
Okay.
So, and I'm new to the word operetta as well, but it's wild and it's so creative in the way that it's a 14 to 18-minute poem, but there's a whole choir behind it. You have different parts, different ensembles, different soloists and everything like that, constant movement and everything. We're still learning a lot of those movements, but Vanessa German is a phenom. I mean, it's just some of the things that are coming about and stuff like that. But yeah, it is a choir of poets.
Yeah.
But there's no singing. But there's no
Oh,
singing.
so it's all it's all spoken
All
word.
spoken, yeah, all spoken
Oh,
word.
okay. Because I was confused. I was like, are they sing like? Because I mean, I've not been to an opera, but no, of opera and stuff. But I was like, how, like, do they sing it? Do they speak it? I was a bit confused, kind of how
I'm
it would
really
all
glad
work.
that I'm really glad you just straight out asked the question, and I'm glad. And I didn't. I should have said it earlier, but yeah, there's no singing. It's all poetry. It's all speeches. So there's some speeches that happen. There's poetry that happens. And then there's different collaborations with the soloist and the choir. There's movement. But it's gonna be something. This I'm so excited to be in a part of this because I'm learning. I'm learning a whole lot. And so thankful for that.
So does it like? Well, I'm gathering there's a narrative and not just a like random poems, but is it like
Oh yeah, yeah.
narrative and scenes in the yeah.
Yes. This is all about the 70th Brown versus Board of Education. This is
Ah,
called
okay.
the Reckoning. It's called the Reckoning. So this everything that Vanessa German is doing here is dedicated to the 70th Brown versus Board of Education. That's why Arts Connect and Visit Topeka bought her to Topeka.
Hmm.
And this was something that they had been planning for the last 2 years and everything like that. So getting her here, I mean, huge deal. She's out of Philadelphia, but like I said, she's a world-renowned artist, sculptress, poet. So just for the simple fact that she's doing this is, the people in the Recording Academy, they already know they're submitting all this stuff. So there, like I said, when you have a name like that and some other things, it's easier to get those nods.
Yeah.
So we're actually coming in on her coattails,
Yeah. The
and
recognition. Mm.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. Oh, mate. Sounds like a busy year for you. Or busy few years. Busy few years, shall we say.
I wouldn't have it any other way. I mean, and even the things that have just happened after the eclipse, just within this last week or so, has been phenomenal. I call it BE and AE, almost like B.C and AD. Before eclipse, after the eclipse, before COVID, after COVID,
Yeah.
before Christ, after Christ, before Christ, after death. There's these different things that sit out. So anyway, but I look at things differently, and some of these things, I mean, before COVID and after COVID, just a whole lot of different things that have happened.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and I'm seeing a lot of things happening before the eclipse and after the eclipse. And right now, I'm liking after the eclipse.
Mhm. Yeah. 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 COVID was a massive thing. Massive. Like it's it was a weird thing to see how we could kind of shut the world down
Right.
in a sense. That was very weird. I found, but then and stuff like that. It was also scary in some parts, but not as but COVID also allowed me to start this. So it was a like blessing and a curse in some way. I couldn't I mean I don't really leave the house much anyway, but I was at uni at the time and I was working, so it was weird having to not go to uni, but instead just sit here and talk to my teachers, kind of like how we're talking now. So and then it kind of takes away that because where you go to uni and you can get that hands-on experience, and if you're not sure, you could you show me how to do this sort of thing. Whereas it was can you show me, and then we've got to figure out how to share screens, and I've got to figure out how to keep my attention because
Right.
I'm all over the place most of the time. So yeah, things for that it was tough. It was tough. It was definitely
Now let
tough.
me ask you a quick question. I ain't trying to turn this interview around,
No,
but
hey,
you're
it's
you're
not an
you're
interview. It's a conversation, isn't it? I just ask you questions.
right. No, no, absolutely. You're an artist. You're an artist as well, aren't you?
Yeah, something like that. A bad artist, a creative in sorts. Yes, yes. I mean, I went to university to do music production and business. Uh, got my qualification in that. And done a couple of other little bits and bobs around music. But yeah, so I again kind of depends what you call an artist. But yeah, I make music and stuff like that. And at the moment, trying to put together a For the Lag of God EP of a few artists that come through the channel. The idea of it is to talk about mental health and stuff like that. So that's something I'm kind of
Well,
working on at the moment.
I'll tell you what. It's crazy that I even asked that question like that. But then with your answer, let me just throw this out there, man. With me being a mental health advocate, as heavy as I am, and some of the other things, I would love to be considered to be a part of your EP, whether it's a verse, a poem, or whatever. Hey, and I would do it for the love. I wouldn't charge on anything. So,
Yeah.
and this is all. This is so. I mean, you got this on tape. It don't matter if It don't matter if this EP comes out after the Grammys and say I do have a couple of Grammys.
Well,
I'm
that
not
was the
gonna say
idea.
I'll be like, hey, bro, it's gonna cost something now. It's gonna cost something now. But I'm just saying, hey, I just want to throw that out there because I love. I mean, mental health is a big thing for me, and when I see that is a direction that people are talking about or going in, there's so many different things I could say
Mm,
about whatever in any type of form, whether it's rap, whether it's poetry, conversation,
yeah.
a skit. But I just want to let you know that I would be available for something like that if that's anything that if you're looking
Mate,
for people, let me know.
most definitely, most definitely. I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot. Actually, I'm a little little choked up to be honest. No, like thank you. Yeah, I've got. Well, we're hopefully getting 6 tracks. I'm in the middle of writing two of my own. I've got one back from another guy, and then I'm just waiting on a couple more people to kind of finish up. So yeah, and then possibly and like an intro, outro sort of thing or whatever. But yeah, mate, I'll
No, I think that
I'll
would be
definitely
great. And
keep
I
that
would
in
say,
mind.
whether it's an intro or an outro, it doesn't even matter because that could definitely be something because it's
Mm,
a journey. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? So I'm already picturing my Morgan Freeman, intro, outro, how
yeah,
he can do.
yeah. No, I appreciate that a lot. Like, and I said at the beginning, meant like mental health was a big influence on why I started this. So if you
Yeah.
if I may share some history with you, is that all
Yes.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
lovely. All right. So, uh, all right. So I am like going way back. I was bullied heavily in school. I was bullied heavily in school. And writing sort of became an outlet for my emotions, but then overthinking kind of turned that against me. So, I'd write and feel, I could write about whatever, and then overthinking about it, and then I'd sort of self sabotaged it. And then I didn't really, and then my friend kind of, because I was posting them on Facebook, and then my friend had just done music, and he said, "Do you think you could do it?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll probably give it a go." Um, and then anyway, after a little while, I started coming up with sort of like story ideas and concepts and stuff, and he sort of said, "Why don't you try it? Like, try making the production yourself." Anyway, it took me a little while to get into it, and then I made an album, and then I was like, I want to learn more, like about EQ and compression and how like the back end of a song is done. Um, and then anyway, 2019, I decided to pull the trigger and go to uni. But then I had a massive mental breakdown because I was scared. Like, I'm 37 this year, and I was really scared to go back into education after having such a
Mm.
tough time in education. I was bullied because I wear glasses. I was bullied because I had one of the deepest voices. Um, and yeah, so many reasons, and I was really scared. I was really scared to go back into education. Anyway, I went into education, and then really started to enjoy it, and then COVID hit, and I didn't know what to do with myself, and then you know because the second year was going to be about business, and I was like, I suppose I better get ahead of myself and come up with a plan, sort of thing. Anyway, messaged one of my teachers and was like, I kind of want to give the streaming thing a go, blah blah blah. And then yeah, he sort of said okay, and then we started meeting like every Friday. Uh, and then with that, we started March 23rd. We started, so we've literally like as a channel, I've literally just turned 4. Um, and then yeah, so we started kind of just doing like little reviews on live streams and stuff. And then one day we got this message from a guy out in Texas. Now, I'm from England. You know what I mean? Like I've never been to Texas in my life. I've been to Vegas and New York. That's about as far as I've been. Um, and anyway, we did this review, and I'd forgotten all about it. And then the guy actually messaged me and said, "Hey, do you know what? Your review saved my life." And I was like, "Can you elaborate a little bit?" Anyway, he was as he messaged me, he was on his way to kill himself.
Mm,
And I was like, okay, like, what do I do now? I, for one, I could have either been the reason he jumps, or I could have been the reason he didn't.
mm,
Unfortunately, I was the reason he didn't. But I could have been that last hammer of the nail, and he could have
mm.
gone. And that, even now, kind of scares, like, gives me chills. You know what I mean? But yeah, and then so he messaged me and was just like, "You saved my life," and I was like, "All right,
Wow.
I better keep going." And then from there, the idea of the channel now is, communicate, collaborate, and educate, and that's something that we I've been running with now for basically 4 years. So that's that's a little backstory of mine. And yeah, that changed everything I kind of think about was,
Man, that's heavy. That is heavy, man. Well,
yeah.
thank you for continuing on, man. I mean, that's there's there's no there's no better story than that.
Mm,
I mean, there can't be a better story than that because that's the only reason you were the reason that he stayed here. Your voice, and it was his choice,
mm,
on what was going to happen on that day. And
yeah,
even if different times it might not hit you as heavy, just know that that was something. I mean, you just operated as you operate. You didn't know you were about to be saving somebody's life. You just talked how you talked, and you did what you did, and it produced that as an outcome to even allow you to hear the fruit of what you said to him, from him reaching out and saying, "Hey, man, you saved my life." Everybody doesn't share that information.
yeah,
They just don't. So
yeah.
when they do, it's special. So man, that's big, man. I
Mm.
really, I mean, that's a huge deal, man.
Yeah, but the crazy thing is, I was like, I'd said to my teacher at the time, I only want to do it. Like, we'll give it a go, and I'm not expecting anyone to really turn up or whatever. And I know and if they do, I know numbers are going to be small. And at the time, I was kind of like, all right, I know that I'd heard on a podcast that most live streams and most podcasters don't make it past at least 9 episodes.
Yeah, I
And I
heard
was
that
like,
too.
yeah, all right. I was like, at least hold me accountable for 10. And it was literally the 10th, well, it wasn't my 10th one that I did it on. I'd done the review a few earlier, but I'd got to about 10, and then that's when the message came through, and I was like, well,
Mm,
looks like we're going for 11. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh yeah,
mm.
it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy.
Yeah,
So,
that's man, that's faith in action.
mm,
I mean, just and there was a reason he was even listening to you. And wow, I mean, these are the different things that let us know that hey, we're our aim is right. We're headed in the right direction. I decided to do this podcast. Didn't know this man was going to be listening to it, and for something like that to happen and you to find out about it are good things. So I hope that, and I know it was encouragement for you and everything. Just continue along because, like I said, this has been a great conversation. And it's been an honest conversation. And I think anybody who hears what we're talking about and everything will be, better for it.
I hope I hope so. I hope so. But yeah, I've like it's been fun. I've still got a couple more questions for you if you want,
Yeah.
or
Yes,
if
sir. Yeah, yeah. We
you
get.
need to go,
No,
like, let me know.
I'm good. I don't have a hard stop until 11:15. I got an 11:30 appointment to get my fingerprints because I got my real estate license again. I had a real estate license in 2006 and 2008, back in the wild wild west of real estate when the bubble busted. But now I'm going to be joining. I can't announce who it is, but it's a great
Cool.
team here in Topeka, Kansas. And I will be making that announcement right after I pass this test on Tuesday. and everything, and it'll be a good thing. With this real estate thing, I can do that regardless how big and famous I get, if that's in the cards. So I wanted to look for something I could do, even if, you
Yeah, yeah.
know.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like that. Well, good luck. Good
Thank
luck for
you.
Tuesday. All right, so uh kind of we're gonna talk about your album, but I want to kind of take it back to your earlier days a
Okay.
little bit. So, we you said in the get to know questions that we've posted up on the blog that breaking or break dancing is what initially got you into hip hop. Like what was it about breakdancing that appealed to you most?
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad that you asked this question. The rhythm definitely came before the rhyme.
Mm,
It's like when you get to breaking and popping and
yeah,
locking and doing everything, stuff has to be on time. Because if it ain't on time, it don't shine. It don't do what it need to do. You know what I'm saying? There's a
yeah,
rhythm to it and everything. So it was just the way I saw people moving. When I would see the different videos that came on the TV, they were moving in a way I'd never seen anybody move. The beats was hitting in a way that I wasn't used to hearing. And I'm like, it's the first time I ever felt inspiration in my body. It felt like my soul was on fire and I had to learn how to do these moves. So I don't feel I had a choice. So at that point, that was the first time I ever felt anything. So I,
yeah,
I had to dive into it and I started learning that day. And my older brother taught me moves as well. And then I taught my best friend, who actually happens to be my wife's cousin. And we got into the third grade. We got into the school talent show in the third grade, got first place. Then we did it again in the fourth grade, got first place, and it was just on from there. But it was the way that people was moving, and the way that they were dressed, and there was rebelliousness to it. There was a rebelliousness to it, and all that appealed to me, you know.
yeah,
So it was like, be yourself. You can be yourself. You can do this. You can dress this way. And back then, I had to pay the price for hip hop. A lot of people, they jump off the porch now and it's cool. Back then, it wasn't. They talk bad about us. They talk bad about the beatbox and everything. So it was like I had to earn my stripes, me dressing how I was dressing and everything and being made fun of and everything else. And when people would make fun of the beatbox and they do all these weird noises and I hated it.
yeah.
But yeah, so that was, yeah, I came up back then.
Is there? Oh, I guess if you had to define the era, would there be a song that defined it for you?
I mean, you know what? We could go all the way back to Shaka Khan. I feel for you. You know what
Mm,
I mean? Chaka Khan, let me rock Chaka Khan, let me. I mean, that was the Breaking Days era and everything like that. But you had songs like Planet Rock. That was during a time to where, Egyptian Lover, Pac Jam. It's like I'm like one of the original hip hop type people, the old school songs and stuff.
mm,
But when I think about Shaka Khan's "I Feel for You," or not even the "I Feel for You," really, it's the "Ain't Nobody, Ain't Nobody
yeah,
Love Me Better." I mean, that's kind of the era I was coming up in during this time, to where when I'd hear that and everything, that was a spirit. You know what I'm saying? The way that
mm,
song was like the atmosphere for me. So I would say, if I just say that "Ain't Nobody" song, that would encompass the feeling of the '80s era that I was in. Although I was born in '74, started breakdancing in '80, '81. That song, if you listen to that song and how it makes you feel, is the spirit of what surrounded me.
So then you also said in the get to know that oh sorry. The break dancing then started going out of style. And then that was what made you want to made you want to pursue the rap. Right.
Yeah, because I was like, all was about to be lost, because, with the hip hop dance going out, I didn't know what I was going to do. And I didn't think I was, witty enough or smart enough to be rapping because it's like I got to know all these words and put this stuff. I'm like, I'll never be able to do that. So there was a break between the breakdance and the rapping where I wasn't really doing anything, as far as creatively. But then I became a closet rapper around 13. I started writing rhymes and everything. And the more I wrote, and some of my friends started finding out I wrote, they kind of pushed me to come out the closet with it and everything. But that was when I was like, wow, I think this is going to be a part of my life forever, and I'm still doing it, here 37 years later, as far as rapping and everything else like that. Still dance a little bit, but I don't really get down and try to do the windmills or head spins or nothing like that. I ain't trying to hurt myself. I don't even do back spins or suicides or anything. So I just stick to popping at this point. But if I'm doing anything, but yeah, that's what it was for me.
So you say the Shaka Khan encompasses the breakdancing. Is it? Would you say that also includes the rap, or is there one that made you want to rap? Because
no, I know with the raps were definitely different. When I think about Shaka Khan, Ain't Nobody, I think about Breaking, that the movie. I think about a lot of things that was going. I think about that song being played at every function when there's hip hop going and everything. But no, it was the early rappers. You know what I'm saying? Like the Sugar Hill Gang. The Planet Rock. Zulu Nation. I mean, KRS-One, Rakim, Eric B and Rakim. Just all the different classic things that were going. Those are the people who made me want to rap. And so it wasn't so much the Shaka Khan. It was her song was more of an atmosphere. So when I hear that song, it encompasses everything for hip hop for me.
Yeah.
But as far as when it comes to the spitters and the people who really got me wanting to rap, it was people like the KRS ones. It was people like the Ice T's. Ice T been in it since the beginning. I mean, he was in all the shows, you know what I'm saying, the breaking shows and everything. He just found himself in the middle of a lot of stuff. But yeah, it was those people.
Yeah, like when I remember the song for me that kind of really got me into it. It came because I was playing a computer game called Def Jam Vendetta.
I remember that game.
Yeah, I was playing that, and it was a song at the end of number two where you throw Crow out, like Snoop Dogg out the window. And then it was funny enough, it was a Joe Budden song called "Come and Take a Walk with Me," and I was like, God damn, this song is nice. Like I like this song, and then I was listening to it, and it was kind of like, as I said earlier, the rawness in which he was talking about. And that's kind of what intrigued me in hip hop. And then from there, the album that really got me into hip hop was DMX's "It's Dark and Hell Is Hot."
Oh yeah.
Like, because he, like, again, I don't know for everyone, but for me, he wasn't exactly like, wasn't massively like trying to do all this crazy stuff. He was just telling you, like, he didn't even care. He was just telling you, I've got this side, we're gonna do this for this for this, but then I'm also gonna go and tell you about, like, like the prayer, and like the convo and things like that. And I was just like, because when I heard the prayer, and I was like, God damn, like I've never heard anyone pray on a track. But then I heard the convo and the way that he'd taken that poem and turned it into a rap track. And I was like, like, this is nice. And then, then there's a track later on. Can't remember what number it is. It's near the end. But then he flipped in the air tonight. He flipped the Phil Collins track.
Yeah. That was dope. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, like this
Yeah,
is nice.
that was dope. Yeah, DMX is one of the best, man. I mean, I look at him and Pop being, authentic in the moment. I always look at the most authentic in the moment, which will make you look like a hypocrite at different times. But that's the goal, to be the most authentic in the moment when you're putting that music down. That's what a real artist do, So
he definitely a big inspiration. And then Yeah, and then basically he made that album, and then they didn't believe he was really worth anything, so they bet him to go and make another one, and he released Flesh of My Flesh, Blood of My Blood, and went platinum twice in the same year.
Same year.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. But speaking of albums, you have an album. You have an album coming. So I saw that it was originally meant to release May 17th, and then I wondered
Yes.
if that if that was to tie in with Brown versus Bound, but then I saw that you've moved it to August 17th.
Yes. So I had to because there's a couple of verses I'm waiting to come back from some people. The video is gonna release May 17th.
Okay.
So I'm still gonna still gonna release that video then. But I wanted to give myself some more time because there's more things happening,
Yeah.
which could mean the push could be bigger and better.
Yeah.
So I wanted to be obedient to that. But the video will release May 17th for the Brown versus Board, but I'm gonna push the album back, but people will be able to still pre-order and everything else like that. But yeah, so I think it's gonna be great for marketing. In order for this album to be considered for any type of nominations, it's got to come out before August 31st. So I'm gonna make sure that that happens. Being pretty strategic with a lot of the things that I'm going to be releasing this year.
Nice. Yeah. And then yeah, so you got that coming out, and you said far too long's on it. You got Levitate with Lamont
Levitate
Jackson.
is on it,
Yeah,
yes.
which I quite enjoyed. Because the drum, I don't know if it was meant to be this way, but drums remind me of Michael Jackson's Billie Jean. And then, funny enough, you remind me a little bit of Ghostface Killer when you do the. Have you ever heard Ghostface Killer when he does his R&B stuff?
Oh, Ghostface is one of my favorite MCs.
Yeah,
You
you
know what
like
I'm
the
saying?
R&B Ghostface is when you do the chorus, and I was like, yeah, Ghostini right here.
Hey, you know what? I appreciate that. He's one of the most original MCs that is out there.
Mm,
So for any type of comparisons for anything like that, man, I appreciate it. Because I've heard some different things. I've heard some people say I remind them of B.O.B. on that, Andre 3000,
yeah.
and here Ghostface Killer, and even Kanye West. So with hearing those type of comparisons, all these people are so upper echelon.
Mm.
Man, I'm just blessed. And when you say Beat It or Billie Jean drums, man, I'm gonna have to listen to it again
Yeah,
because
like
that is that's dope.
very sort of similar to it, and I was like, is it a sample? I doubt it's a sample, but it does remind me a little bit of the Billie Jean drums,
Now,
and yeah,
and we're gonna keep going. I'm just gonna be moving a little bit because I gotta start heading to the place, but it's fine because it's gonna take me about 15 minutes to be there.
yeah, I
So,
was
but like I said, we don't gotta shut anything down. I just want to let you know what I'm doing as you see me moving a little
okay,
bit,
I
writing
was
down this
yeah,
address.
all right, sweet, sweet, yeah. So I quite enjoyed that, and then I saw that you've been posting about the I don't know if it's on. I think it's coming on your album, but it's the I'm an American, featuring the
Yes,
some of the South Central Cartel. Is his name? Is
yes.
it Prodigy, or how do you
So
say it?
that's Prodigy.
Oh,
And the
Prodigy.
and the other one used to be Young Prodigy because that's Prodigy's younger brother, but he goes by Cali Pitts now because
Oh,
his older brother was like a father to him the way he looked at it, so he came up under Young Prodigy. But now he's been ready to make his own name, so he goes by Cali Pitts. But yes,
oh,
I'm gonna have both of them on that song. I'm also putting a young lady on there named Roblo Star. She's out of Kansas City. She's been on a big come up. She's on the latest Tech Nine album. And the I'm an American is just basically a lot of times, reason I came up with this concept is for the simple fact that um, a lot of times when you hear people talking about they're an American, it's some super politically charged whatever.
mm,
This is where people, regardless where they're at, you know, in the community, gangsters locked up or whatever, Man, I'm an American. I live right here in America. So if I'm acting a certain way, whatever, hey, I'm an American. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to tell me to go back to Africa. You ain't got to tell me to do this or whatever. I'm an
Yeah.
American. So I wanted to approach it in that type of a way and have people from all throughout the country join in on this thing. And once again, I just do the chorus.
I guess really what like what else can people expect from the album coming up? Like, because you got Far Too Long, Levitate, I'm an American. Uh,
Oh yes, my volume went off for a second. Now I just forgot some. I'm just running back into the house. Now, will you ask me that question again?
yeah, you got Levitate, Far Too Long, I'm an American. What else can people expect to hear? Because it sounds quite a heavy album.
So one thing that is really good, I got a song called "Choppers and Guns," and
Mm,
this song is all about the life of a gun. I
yeah,
take it back to like the Nas, "I
yeah,
Gave You Power,"
yeah,
and me and my girlfriend,
yeah.
Tupac. Um, so I take it back to that and explain the life of a gun, and I think people are going to really get a lot out of that. Got a song title track that's called "Synchronicity In Motion," and that
Mm,
whole thing is about my mental health issues, which was being in sync with so much I'd have perfect days until it drove me to the psych ward.
yeah,
Um, so we going back to the '90s when I was on antipsychotic medication and some other things, but in general, you're gonna have other songs like "Travel Through My Mind," to where I'm taking this artistry back, what I call the interstates, like the interstates of my mind when I'm creating and what that looks like.
mm,
You'll have songs like "Head High for My City," where I got one of my guys from Brooklyn on it, one of my guys from South Central, and one of my guys from Kansas City, Missouri, and I just do the chorus. Once again, being inspired from people like Wu Tang, that Raekwon's album, that song called "Ice Cream," where
yeah,
uh,
yeah.
Meth just did the chorus
Nah,
and
yeah, he
everybody else
smashed
did the
it.
verses. I got two songs where I just do the chorus and other people do the verses.
Sounds pretty good. Sounds pretty good. Uh, yeah, it's all it. Funny enough, it comes out the day before my birthday as well. So I'm gonna check that out. Check that out. It sounds good. It sounds good. Um, where's the other one? Oh yeah, he still there. Oh, there you are. All right. So I'll ask you one. I'll ask you one, or like probably two more. I had a couple of others, but I'll give you two more. I've kept you quite a while. um, so you do. I wanted to touch on the wrestling, but I haven't really got time. But um, you do the wrestling. You do a lot of the community work. Your entrepreneurialism, your music and stuff. So how do you juggle it all and find the time to record moments of, shall we say, creativity?
Lately I've been having more time to do that because right now we'll be working on my real estate license. These last 2 months, I've just focused everything into the music and especially the Brown versus Boyd song and things like that. So most of my days have been either recording different people, working on this album, writing new songs, having my meetings and everything else. But there's different times throughout the day. Like today, I woke up at 4:30 this morning and started doing some creative things. It just depends on. I always make time for it because sometimes it just pokes at me and then wake me up, and then I got to write some stuff down
Hmm.
or whatever else. And the way that me and my wife work is, she's so active and everything else. We're always creating throughout the whole day. Different times. Of course, she works a regular job, and me at this point, I'm just really this is my full time stuff that I'm doing. And then when I pick up this real estate,
But I like to say this: when I'm busy, I'm happier.
Yeah.
You know.
It's like when you sort of stay like it's shall we say stagnant, but when you say like when you stay stagnant, there we go. You kind of have more time to think and well me like as I've said I overthink things. So if I'm sort of sitting around, I my mind runs wild and then I start overthink and make mountains out of molehills sort of thing.
You know, and I just need to be productive. You know, and there's all kind of ways to do that. And I just find lately, the way I have been writing and having to put stuff out there and get back with, one of my producers so we can hear some different things and then his feedback. At this point, I'm knocking everything out the park for my producer because he's not satisfied with just simple stuff. You know, like this is Don Juan I'm talking about. He's the guy who was behind, Tech Nine, early stuff. You know what I'm saying? So he's used to working with top notch people. So he judges. He don't judge on the curve.
Yeah.
So with just knowing that one of his songs from my album is going to be his lead single, because that's what producers do. With our first collaboration is the song "Synchronicity In Motion," and that has me on it. It has one of lady that I deal with. Her name is Acapella doing the singing, and it's got Don Juan on it. He's kind of like a Puff Daddy in a way where he talks at the beginning of songs, gives his salute, this, that, and everything else, and to get a Don Juan salute, especially coming from where I'm from, is a big, big deal. So, so yeah, man, I'm just enjoying everything, and just putting everything into this writing right now. So, I'm creative pretty much throughout the whole day.
Said in the get to knows, like, and again this I kind of liked it as well. I can't remember what the question was, but you sort of said about take like, oh, how did you say it? Was you find oh yeah, it was the work life question I think I asked, and you said about you don't necessarily keep them separate because one thing can inspire the other, and I really quite enjoyed that album. Is you never know when creativity is gonna hit you and or what or where it's gonna come from, and like
so I know exactly what I said now with you saying it like that. Basically, you got to be ready at any moment when inspiration strikes, because you never know when it's going to, but when it does, you got to be prepared for it in order to be able to take advantage of it. Because only inspiration can move you. That's the only thing that can change somebody's mind is when they're inspired to change, inspired to do something. You just can't speak change into somebody. They got to want it for themselves.
Yeah. That was that was it. I quite enjoyed that answer, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm like, I kind of reminded me as well, reminded me of me as well. There we go. Because sometimes I'll be at work and then all of a sudden like a song will come on or something, and I'll be singing along, and then all of a sudden I'll think of my own right. And oh no, got to quickly rush to find a bit of paper and stuff like that. So yeah, I definitely. I definitely feel the same way. All right, so basically, I got one more for you, and we can wrap it up. But where tell everyone where where they can find you. All right.
So I'm under the same name on all platforms. I'm biggest on Facebook and Instagram. So that's under SJ Hazim. So that's S and a J like St. James. Last name HAZ as in zebra. IM as in Mary. SJ Hazim. So I'm on the Facebook. I'm on the Instagram. And those are the main places that you can find me. But yeah, so, and you can even Google me, just, and you find a lot of things that have come up. You'll probably see some news clips and everything else. So, yeah, that's me.
Lovely. All right, mate. It's been a pleasure. So yeah, we'll quickly end this, and then we'll talk a little bit. But all right, people, that's been us talking to SJ Hazim. It's been an absolute pleasure. So until next time, people, take it easy, be safe, and enjoy yourself. Peace.
Boop, boop, boop.